Thanks, Amy. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining our first quarterly Intacct User Forum release R2, which came out on May 12th of this year. So if you noticed any updates or new features in your Intacct instance, I hope to give you a better understanding of what all of those features and new capabilities are. Like Amy mentioned, my name is Morgan and I work in the construction and real estate division here at Action and work primarily with Sage Intacct, which is our next-gen software. Just want to give everyone a quick overview of who we are here at Action. We're a top ERP VAR partner, about 65 million annual revenue, and have acquired multiple VARs within the past 12 years, and we continue to partner with technology and solution leaders across the United States. We have our proven lean methodology to provide efficient support and have successful implementations of our solutions. We have more than 220 employees and 6,500 customers. We focus primarily in architectural engineering and construction, real estate, distribution, and manufacturing industries. We have been recognized for various different awards, the most recent being Top Workplace Award of 2023. Focusing in on the construction and real estate division, we partner with Sage and provide software solutions that include Sage 100 Contractors, Sage 300 CRE, Sage Intacct, which we'll be discussing today, Sage Estimating, and various other ISV applications. All right, so let's kick off with the construction feature set. I'm excited to introduce some of the new release features and capabilities that you now have within construction that I'm sure a lot of you have been anxiously waiting for. The first being two new options that are available when integrating construction project contracts with change requests. Prior to this, the entire value of the change request was automatically linked to the project contract line only at the project change order level. That was if you were to inherit from job change order. You can see in the screen that there are two additional options. The first one being to assign from this change request. And so this option will allow you to associate your change request to a project contract line at a document level so that you can see those two additional drop downs to specify which project contract ID and then even more specifically what contract line that request is associated with. If you want to get even more granular, you have the option now to assign per entry, which will then display new options down in the line entry section to break out each change request line by line. So this has been highly requested to increase flexibility within change order management. Couple things to keep in mind here that the change order must be in a posted state to update these contract lines, and the workflow type status, for example, if it is pending, approved, or denied, that's what drives the job summary value on the contract line when it is updated. The next enhancement is a new tab within the project module. So when you go into view and overview your projects at a glance, there is now an option to view your job's primary documents within purchasing. I'm sure most of you, this screen looks very familiar, and so there's now increased flexibility to drill down into these primary documents where you can now view any linked change orders or any invoices that are related to that subcontract. Again, to just have better flexibility to see all of the aspects of where your job is at a given point in time. There are 3 new configuration settings in purchasing. I will go through each of these specifically. When this was released, these checkboxes are not automatically checked. So if any of these seem like they would be applicable to your purchasing workflow, feel free to go into your purchasing settings and select these checkboxes. The first being To pre-fill 0 on conversions. If you are going in to convert your subcontract to a subcontract invoice, previously this would populate with the remaining balance. And so if you do select this checkbox, it will now populate as a 0. So you can go in and select the amount specifically that you want to invoice, or you can post it as a $0 invoice if you so choose to. If this, it may seem like a small new feature, but just ease of entry. If a subcontractor is only billing you 10 out of over 50 line items, it just makes it easier to enter those amounts into the invoice. The next configuration setting is to include fully converted lines on the new document during conversion. So if this were not selected, those line items would then be omitted, which may cause confusion if you're trying to compare and contrast your subcontract to your subcontract invoice. The line items may differ because certain lines have been omitted. If you select this checkbox in this example here, you can see that the $300 in line entry 2 has already been paid, but for ease of going in and updating your invoice, instead of having to go to a different screen, you can now see line entry 2 has already been paid, so they can go in and select the new amounts that need to be invoiced. The next configuration setting that was highly requested is to reverse conversions in purchasing. At this point in time, this is only for non-inventory items, such as subcontract, materials, equipment, etc. So this now allows you to enter a negative value from what was used in the original entry. In this example here, you can see that the price converted is $450, and let's say there is a credit amount for $200. If you reverse this conversion and add in a negative $200, you can see on that last screenshot there that the price converted is now $250. And if you show the details on that screen, you'll be able to see, okay, I originally had that $450 and I have converted $200 of that out. And so that negative amount will continue to be tracked, and the price converted will display the net amount of what has been converted. This is also a permission settings if you want to allow specific users to have access to reverse these conversions. In addition to having the enable conversion reversal for non-inventory items configuration selected, it only makes sense that the convert option is still available even when the subcontract is in a state of being fully converted. If this is not enabled, that convert button to the left of the subcontract will then be eliminated once it's in a fully converted state. So this now allows you to be able to make adjustments, any potential credit adjustments, even if that subcontract has been fully converted. Now switching over to the billing side, there is a checkbox now available to summarize your time and material billing for project contracts. Instead of having all of your expense line items being included on the contract lines, you can now roll up those expenses into a single line item. These are still being tracked in an ICRW report. So if the customer does request and want a substantiated billing, these are being tracked elsewhere. Just know that you now have that flexibility if you would like to roll them up into one line item. For example, here you can see that 2 timesheet entries were linked to the phase 2 contract line ID. So when you go to generate that invoice, each of those contract line ID items have now rolled up all of those expenses into one line item for ease when you go to generate your invoice. If you have any additional questions on construction, please feel free to reach out to your primary consultant. Now I want to discuss more about the new enhancements specifically in finance. To analyze your data even quicker and have better insights on your financials, you now have the capability to drill down specifically through account groups on your financial reports. Anything that has a blue hyperlink within your reports, you can drill down to get a more granular view on where those numbers are coming from. You now have the option to finer tune when sending dunning notices to your customers. You can create customer groups to have it easier to select the customer group and send out those dunning notices on the AR side. Linking credit card transactions with employee expense reports is now available to help streamline your employee expense workflow and to eliminate the reconciliation process to speed up your data entry. So if you go into the expense report, there is a new option to select the credit card transactions. Keep in mind that the transaction needs to be linked to a specific employee for that to be displayed. There can only be one employee per expense report. And if needed, you can remove the link related to the credit card transaction. And for example, if one of your employees has purchased meals in their hotel on one credit card transaction, you can then split those expenses when you go to display them on the expense report. You now have the ability to apply credits in bulk through an import template. So last year, Sage introduced the ability to import customer payments in bulk through a CSV import. So now if you go into customers import, if you go into company import data, you can go down to accounts receivable payments and use that same CSV template to apply AR adjustments, negative invoice credits, and inline credits by going in and entering that information. You can import up to 5,000 lines per file. However, just keep in mind that at this point in time, there is not an option for bulk reversal. Again, so just make sure that you understand that prior to importing a large amount of data. If you have inter-entity transactions enabled, you can now save time reconciling by automating with creation rules. So previously, you had to create your inter-entity transactions for journal entries that was generated by a creation rule. Now those creation rules will automatically create those inter-entity transactions, which is a lot more user-friendly for those inter-entity transactions. There's options to enhance your control and security. You can go into the general ledger and select to enable closed statutory reporting periods to be locked to ensure that once your books have been closed for that period, no one can make changes anymore to that closed period to just kind of enhance that extra layer of control. Another exciting new feature is being able to update the transaction reversal date. Previously, once you selected that reversal date, it was locked in and you could no longer update that field. And now you have the option to improve the accuracy of your GL by editing that date on posted payments. All right, now a couple updates on Payroll. Payroll is now out of the beta phase and is in the general availability. Sage Intacct is announcing their availability for the Payroll powered by ADP. So this kind of encompasses an overall full-featured payroll and HCM suite with payroll, enhanced HR, benefits, and other timekeeping, which now integrates seamlessly with Sage Intacct. As you can see on this screen, I briefly mapped out some of how the data will flow between Sage Intacct and Sage Intacct Payroll powered by ADP. And if you have any questions or would like more information on this new Sage Intacct Payroll powered by ADP, please contact your sales rep or go to support@action.com. Quick update on time entry. Sage Intelligent Time has enhanced the ability to switch between different entities. So this again mirrors what is in Intacct, the ability to go to top level and go to those separate entities. And you have better flexibility to track time for employees who work in different entities. And this will now also increase your workflow. A couple other enhancements that are new to Intacct. More on the user interface, now you have the ability to drill down into a vendor name and it will open the vendor record now. Previously, it would open to a general ledger report. Again, not as user-friendly, and so now when you go in to select that vendor name, you'll be able to see all of the vendor information, additional information, contacts, and payment information all on that one screen. And of course, what they do to the vendors, you can now see on the customer list as well. More exciting releases coming soon, specifically pertaining to Sage Intacct Construction on August 18 is the expected R3 release. There is additional release information that will be coming out. I just want to focus primarily on the construction. In the most recent upcoming release, there is enhancements for construction billing. And the moment all of you have been waiting for, phase 1 of vendor compliance to enhance insurance tracking and other miscellaneous compliance tracking. If you have international business, they now will support retainage for those and new enhancements regarding reporting. Looking ahead even further in the future, more vendor compliance is in the works for lien waivers, secondary vendors, joint checks, all very exciting new enhancements. And similarly to what they released for purchasing, this release for reverse conversions, again, still only non-inventory items. They are looking to enhance order entry as well. New progress will be made on WIP reporting and then also various other new reporting areas and report packages. So be on the lookout for these new release dates. How can you specifically get your ideas heard? Most of the ideas that you've seen in this release are relating to what customers like yourself have reached out and promoted those ideas because they have been potential pain points. If you go into your Sage Intacct community, you can see on the home screen there is an option to view all ideas. You can go in, post your idea, give additional information, maybe some screenshots, explain how this would be more beneficial to all Intacct users. And then once you post your idea, make sure everyone you know goes in and votes on that idea. So the quicker that a vote, the quicker that the votes have and the more votes it has at one point, it will raise to the top of the list and those will be considered for new ideas to implement into Sage Intacct. You can vote on various other ideas within the community and also add additional comments as well. Coming soon, we will in the near future be hosting some shorter sessions and have presentations specific feature sets within Sage Intacct. So keep an eye out for these invites and topics within the near future. And as always, contact us for more information. If you have any additional questions pertaining to the release or any upcoming events, please reach out to your primary consultant, go to support@action.com. And keep in mind that on your Intacct instance home screen, you can check out all of the R2 release notes that are displayed on the home screen there. Again, thank you all for taking the time out of your day, and I hope you now have a better glance at these new enhancements within your Intacct instance to get the most value out of your product. Thank you.